welcome to our journey through the heart of Native American heritage. Today, we explore the tradition, stories, and vibrant cultures of Native American. Before Columbus stumbled upon America in 1942, about 2 million American Indians were thriving, mainly as agriculture experts. But then, diseases like typhoid and smallpox crushed the party, reducing their numbers to as merely 200,000, practically wiping out 200 tribes. Ouch! Fast forward to the last century, Uncle Sam took the stage with his grand plan, acts of federal policies. First, the assimilation era, wherein they tried to make Indians fit in by sending them to boarding schools. Then came the indirect rule phase, where traditional leadership got a Western makeover but didn't quite stick. The termination period saw the government stripping Indians of their status and land rights. Finally, tribes said enough and took control in their economic self-determination era. Now, the Indian Health Service watches over reservation health from 12 regional offices scattered across 35 states. Reservations like hipster hangouts offer places for tribal tradition to thrive. And did you know that Oklahoma hosts a whopping 38 tribes? But wait, there's more. Many urban Indians today are likely distant relatives and family reunions. They never visited the reservation and they never learned their native language and definitely haven't listened to their grandpa's stories. Now, onto schooling and jobs. Buckle up because the stats aren't pretty enough. I mean, only 20% of American Indians over 25 have high school diplomas, and third never made it past in 9th grade. Oof, looks like the education system missed the memo.
Yantahan wakin ziti oshpai kile khesapa kin lilu wakan mitaki.
In the United States, there is a language fiesta with over 300 Indian languages spoken among tribes. Imagine, 1 out of every 20 American Indians and Alaska Natives lives in a home where English is foreign language. Talk about linguistic diversity, right? Actually, communication styles are like a cultural dance in their tradition. They prefer subtle moves relying on implicit and indirect communication. So if you are non-Indian physical therapists, do not be surprised if you feel like you're missing a step. Using American Indian language, be careful. Pronunciation mishaps can turn hello into goodbye in a flash, especially with older Navajo folks. Better pack a linguistic safety net, or should I say, an interpreter. Eyes on the prize? Not quite. Direct eye contact is like stepping on toes in American Indian and Alaska Native cultures. Instead, it's all about the side eye or quick glance. Respectful, right? Silence isn't golden, it's sacred. Interrupting those quiet moments during chat, that's like bursting into a library and shouting. Let the silence speak volumes during interactions. Time is fluid concept for American Indians. Forget about the clocks. It's all about nature clocks, the sun, the moon, and the seasons. Planning for the future? Some might think it's foolish. Starting on time, in American Indian communities, time begins when gongs all are here. So if you're planning an event, better factor in some wiggle room for tardy arrivals. Traditional gender roles in American Indian communities were all about survival, hunting, child rearing, and keeping everyone else safe. These days, tasks are more equally shared between men and women, similar to mainstream and American culture. Interestingly, In the past 30 years, the number of female-headed American Indian households has jumped to 30%. A key feature of American Indian and Alaskan Native culture is the special bond between the youth and the elders. Elders are not just to their age, but for their wisdom and respect. They are the walking history books of their communities, teaching traditional languages and beliefs to the younger folks. Caring for aging elders is seen as privilege, a way for adult children to give back the care they once received. In many decisions, an elderly woman often has a final say. Nothing's official until she's on board. Extended families, once vital for survival, are still important but not as central as they used to be. The dynamics have shifted, but the core values of respect and care remain strong. In short, while roles and family structures have evolved, the deep respect for elders and the importance of community continue to be part of American Indian and Alaskan Native cultures. In American Indian and Alaskan Native culture, good health comes from living in harmony with the universe. Tribal beliefs vary, but many hold nature in high regard, recognizing earth and sky elements as essential for balance and well-being. Illness is often seen as a result of imbalance, which can be corrected through ceremonies like rituals, prayers, chants, and etc. Aing people use both traditional healers and Western medicine, but often distrust scientific research due to historical mistreatment and derogatory views of their medicine. However, integrating both approach has shown positive results for conditions like depression, stroke, and arthritis. A government task force has even recognized the value of combining these practices. The federal government, through the Indian Health Service, is legally required to provide healthcare to recognized Ayin tribes. However, reliance on federal rather than state support can lead to issues like substandard housing, poverty, malnutrition, and poor health. Traditional healers use methods like dream interpretation, crystals. For example, the Navajo may wear turquoise for protection but view overuse negatively. Illness is seen as an imbalance of mind, body, and spirit, addressed within cultural contexts.
Traditional healers are integral to many American Indian and Alaska Native communities, with their usage varying based on cultural factors. These healers are typically categorized into three groups: those harnessing positive energies, those dealing with negative forces, and those balancing with both aspects. Traditional healers among American Indian and Alaska Native communities are often believed to be divinely selected, promoting practices that emphasize self-discipline, self-control, and heightened bodily awareness. While some possess supernatural abilities, others rely on herbal knowledge and specific healing techniques. Acceptance of Western medicine varies, often blending with traditional healthcare beliefs within these communities. Collaboration between traditional and Western healers can address many health issues among American Indians in culturally appropriate ways, with Navajo tribal practitioners organizing their knowledge into preventive measures, treatment plans, and health maintenance strategies. For instance, preventive measures may involve carrying objects or pouches prescribed by a medicine man to counteract negative influences, emphasizing the importance of respecting cultural practices such as not removing medicine pouches from clients. Male health care providers often limit their care for women, particularly during menstruation, a practice commonly observed among elderly women. It's advisable to offer a same-gender physical therapist whenever feasible for conditions necessitating intimate contact, respecting cultural norms, and patient comfort.
When you have that type of illness, it is a spiritual thing. about the whole is the way that they say it. It's the case. It won't allow you to think. He couldn't learn the certain ceremony that he was trying to learn. And so he told me, he said, which means I made for myself the traditional teaching of doing without food for a period of time. We would refer to that as fasting today.
High-risk behavior. Alcoholism is considered an epidemic among American Indians and Alaska Natives and is a major contributor to health and social issues such as cirrhosis of the liver, accidents, and homicide. The federal government estimates that the alcoholism mortality rate among this group is more than 5 times higher than for all other races combined. While the death rate associated with alcoholism among female American Indians in the same age range is less than half the rate for males, it still remains over 9 times higher than for females of other races in the same age cohort. Motor vehicle crashes contribute significantly to accidental deaths and hospitalizations among this population. American Indian pregnancies are also associated with concerns such as high fertility rates, high birth weight, diabetes, inadequate prenatal care, and high-risk behaviors. Alarmingly, only about 2/3 of American Indian women initiate prenatal care in the first trimester.
We kind of had an idea that it wouldn't be as high, but we feel, I guess for our expectations, we thought it would be higher. And so that was kind of a eye-opening experience.
We'll be eating raw caribou meat and raw beluga whale for lunch and show you how we eat it and how we prepare it. While we wait for the meat to defrost,
Food symbolizes generosity within American Indian cultures. However, limited financial resources or access to healthy foods may pose challenges in maintaining adequate nutritional status for many individuals. Nutritional issues among American Indians include excessive caloric intake, increased fat consumption, and insufficient intake of fiber, iron, calcium, and vitamins A and C. Additionally, sedentary lifestyles have become more common. Rural reservations often face challenges accessing healthy food choices due to their distance from markets, compounded by irregular or non-existent transportation options for many Indian families. Additionally, poor water quality with high mineral content in rural supplies on some reservations leads to frequent reliance on sugary beverage powders for improved palatability. Insufficient resources further hinder efforts to address changing social, economic, and environmental conditions necessary to support improved nutritional status. Spirituality. Spiritual and healthcare practices are deeply intertwined in American Indian communities. The American Indian Church, or also known as the Peyote religion, is prominent in many tribes, emphasizing the revival of indigenous culture and beliefs. Hospital admissions may be accompanied by traditional ceremonies and consultations with pastors to honor these spiritual aspects. In these communities, spirituality and wellness are seen as interconnected, with events like death regarded as natural steps in the life cycle. Andrews and Boyle summarize core spiritual beliefs related to health shared by many tribes, including the belief in a supreme creator, the understanding that all physical things are part of the spirit world, and the belief that the spirit exists before and after death. Medicine men and women aim to restore harmony rather than prolong life, viewing illness as affecting body, mind, and spirit, and resulting in disharmony. Natural unwellness may stem from violating sacred or tribal taboos, while witchcraft may lead to unnatural wellness. Additionally, individuals are seen as responsible for their own health, contrasting with the external organism or abnormality perspectives of the Western medicine.
We're still here.
The Inca traditions, the Inca knowledge has never disappeared.
Today, American Indians are among the poorest and least educated minority groups in the U.S. Only 20% of those aged 25 and older have earned high school diplomas, and 32% have an education below the 9th grade. Just 8.9% of Indians versus the 20.3% of the general population earned baccalaureate degrees. then consistent with lower educational achievements, American Indians are more likely to be unemployed than other groups and experience higher rates of poverty.
Old people would be instructing us, and we would come up with some silly comment, and they would say something like, "Doja Nida," which is, you're not supposed to be saying that. "Doja Nida," you're not supposed to be doing that. And which is, do not think that way. And a lot of times they wouldn't give you a real reason as to why you shouldn't be saying this or doing that or thinking such things.
Galloway and colleagues note that open discussion of death and dying are often perceived as willing it on oneself. Within many American Indian communities, therefore, physical therapists must adhere to the ethical principle of non-maleficence, ensuring they do not cause harm to the patient physically or mentally by discussing death as freely as in common in Western medicine. To navigate cultural sensitivities and avoid taboo topics, discussions about fatal diseases or illnesses among the Navajo must be handled delicately. It's essential to present the issue in the third person as if it happened to someone else, and never suggest that the client themselves is dying. Doing so could be interpreted as wishing harm upon the client or having evil powers if the client does pass away. Community healing after a death in American Indian communities often involves traditional healing and religious ceremonies, along with counseling services. Additionally, humor is sometimes used as a form of healing, aiming to erase, cleanse, or transform feelings of embarrassment, oppression, sorrow, or pain. During times of bereavement, storytelling and prayers for good health can serve as acceptable outlets of American Indians. Additionally, it is not uncommon for individuals to experience dreams and hallucination about the deceased after a personal loss. These dreams may be interpreted as representing illness, death, or the spirit of the deceased claiming connection with the dreamer. Spirit sickness is a phenomenon observed in some American Indian communities characterized by features of depression resulting from the loss of a guardian and spirit. Connection with deceased family members or acquaintances. Untreated spirit sickness is believed to potentially lead to soul loss and death. To support individuals experiencing bereavement in these communities, it is essential to acknowledge the importance of body, mind, and spirit. Recognize local native traditions, establish personal connections, provide empathy, monitor for signs of depression, and be aware of available community interventions to aid in the bereavement process. American Indian women on average give birth at a younger age compared to women in the general US population. There's a cultural belief among American Indian women that contraception shouldn't be used until after the first baby is born, with value placed on becoming pregnant at an early age as it validates one's feminine role. Community prevention programs can address modifiable factors to address these issues. Pre- and postnatal care should involve educating young women and their families tailored to incorporate beliefs specific to their clan or tribe due to the wide variance in values, beliefs, lifestyle, and rituals among tribes. Traditional storytelling and talking circles can serve as effective tools to facilitate this educational process. Although value may be placed on early childbearing in a qualitative study by Liu, Slup, Kinsman, and Khalid, of 25 Indian adolescents who became pregnant, 13 were afraid to tell their families about the pregnancy. In addition, 3 of participants used alcohol and 3 used tobacco during pregnancy. 15 became pregnant because they failed to use contraception, and half reported barriers to obtaining prenatal care due to the lack of transportation, family problems, and or missing school. In a study of rural teenage Indian adolescents, Chewing and colleagues found that lower perceived health risk behavior of friends, higher perceived parental support, higher perceived parental knowledge and monitoring of activities and friends, and higher value placed on scholastic achievements are all factors correlated with abstention from intercourse or with consistent use of birth control. Through community prevention programs, modifiable factors. Biocultural ecology. The skin color of American Indians and Alaska Native population ranges from light brown to very dark brown. And many individuals have epithelial folds over their eyes, while the Navajo, Shawnee, and Apache tribes are often taller and thinner compared to other tribes. It's essential to remember that these characteristics vary among individuals. Type 2 diabetes mellitus is becoming increasingly prevalent in the American Indian population, leading to higher mortality rates alongside diabetes acanthosis nigricans, or AN, is also common among Native Americans. AN is characterized by darkened velvety skin in areas such as the neck, groin, and axillae. Despite being labeled as hyperpigmentation, it is important to note that light microscopy reveals hyperkeratosis rather than the changes in melanin deposition. Historically, American Indians faced mortality from acute infectious diseases like smallpox, measles, and diphtheria. However, contemporary mortality trends among American Indians have shifted towards chronic diseases linked to alcoholism, heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. American Indians exhibit a shorter life expectancy and a younger overall population compared to other races in the United States. The most frequent causes of death among American Indians include diseases of the circulatory system, accidents, violence, poisoning, neoplasms, and diseases of the respiratory system. Influenza accounts for 46% of death among American Indians, with the 2 primary causes of infant mortality being sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, and congenital anomalies. Additionally, 4.5% of American Indians' mothers consume alcohol, a rate 3 times higher than that of a non-Indian woman in the United States.